This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Now, my resolution this year was to leave the house more. I spend way too much time in my wizard tower as of late. So now, when I have to make a video, like the one you're watching right now, every now and then I'll work on it while I'm in a coffee shop or something. However, using my computer on public Wi-Fi comes with certain risks. But that's where NordVPN comes to the rescue. When I'm in public, Nord is perfect for giving me that extra layer of next-generation encryption. That way my data is safe and I can remain cool and mysterious, like all the other coffee shop patrons obviously perceive me to be. Nord is also usable on multiple devices, and of course it's great for accessing region-locked content. So if you want to try Nord for yourself, you can get a 2-year plan at a huge discount, plus 4 additional months free when you use my link, nordvpn.com/cosmonaut. And it's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. In case you missed it, that's nordvpn.com/cosmonaut, or click the link in the description below. Cosmonaut Quickie! So Thunderbolts Asterisk is out, and I actually have been looking forward to this one. I've been championing this movie behind the scenes ever since I watched the first trailer. I think the trailers actually made this movie look like it was gonna be decent. So was it as good as I expected? Kinda. I think surprisingly, I'm a little bit less impressed by this movie than most people, but by no means does this mean that I disliked it. I think I'd classify it as pretty good, asterisk. I think the reason why a lot of people like this movie a lot is because Thunderbolts feels like the first MCU movie in a while that's actually trying to be a real movie and connect into the greater MCU in a satisfying way. It's noticeable immediately that this movie has better performances, a more concise story, and actual themes and symbolism. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember the last time an MCU movie had themes. This film explores topics such as depression, loneliness, and self-harm, and it contextualizes these topics in a way that makes sense for the story. People are quick to compare this movie to Suicide Squad, but I think if anything, these guys are the Suicidal Squad.
Well, why you booing me? I'm right!
I think these topics were handled in a very realistic way, and they make us like these characters way more. When I went into this movie, I was thinking, you know, it's gonna take a lot for you to make me like John Walker. That guy's kind of a scumbag. But surprise, surprise, I guess it's kind of easy to feel bad for these people when you get multiple opportunities to look into their minds and see how messed up their lives have been. And honestly, the characters are what make the film work for me. It's very easy to mess up a superhero ensemble cast because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It's not possible to give everybody equal time in the spotlight. But this movie understands that you just have to make the audience care about most of the characters. Yelena is more or less the main character here, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I like her way more than her sister Natasha. For 90% of her film appearances, Black Widow was just your standard femme fatale. That is until Endgame, where they made her actually likable, so that they could kill her. But Yelena, in comparison, is a much more likable person. She isn't just your average Marvel quip machine, she feels like a person with realistic problems. And I like that her grief and depression don't manifest in ways that you would expect from a story like this. I think it would have been so easy to make her a mysterious edgelord who doesn't talk about her feelings, but no, she spends the whole movie looking for people to vent to. The deadly assassin who just really wants to make friends is such a compelling character concept, and I think it's safe to say she's one of the few new MCU characters that feels solidly fleshed out. I like her a lot. This movie's basically like a supervillain AA meeting. It's more or less a 2-hour-long therapy session for these characters, and this is most noticeable when we look at Sentry. I think that Bob is such a surprising standout from this cast, and it's been a while since I've seen a new MCU character and thought, damn, I really want to see more of that guy. It's also pretty genius to make him the star of the main action scene of the movie. I always say that the easiest way to make audiences like a character in a movie like this is to give them a cool fight scene. People fall in love with superheroes when they see what they can do. And it also helps that the character is very relatable and likable. However, I don't think everybody worked as well for me. In this film, the good characters are so well done that it kind of makes the weaker ones stand out a little bit more. There are more members of the Thunderbolts crew, and while I think John Walker was significantly more likable than he was in the Falcon show, I would have liked if they gave him a little more to work with. He's kind of the punching bag here, and I do think that's good for someone as morally reprehensible as him, but I feel like he doesn't really get a big moment to shine like some of the other characters in this story. We also have Bucky, who's very cool. He has a sick-ass action scene here, but I feel like he doesn't carry things as strongly as I would have liked. I feel like you could have just replaced him with any other Legacy Avengers character and the story would have worked just as fine. And then we also have Ghost, who exists. It's kind of ironic that the character named Ghost is the most forgettable person here. She's probably the one character that could have been removed from the story completely without changing anything. I honestly forgot she was in the movie. And before we talk about anything else, I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while, and we're going to head into spoiler territory. Yes, it's been a long time since we've had spoiler talk, but the things I actually want to talk about in this movie would give away a little too much. So, yeah, you can skip to the end if you want to hear my score, but otherwise, get out of here. So keen-eyed viewers would note that the Thunderbolts marketing has one extra character. Everybody's favorite Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie. Yeah, she dies almost immediately in this story. And it's not really handled in a way that I thought was very satisfying. I thought it would be more of like a big moment, something that kind of matters in the overall plot. But it was very unceremonious, and it made me wonder why she's even in the movie. It's not like this is a character anybody has any strong feelings about. People were annoyed at how Taskmaster was handled back in the Black Widow movie, but not enough to want the character dead. It wouldn't be so weird if Taskmaster wasn't all over the marketing and on every poster. Calling her one of the Thunderbolts is definitely a stretch. She dies before they even learn each other's names. So honestly, I don't know why they bothered putting her in here. But that's not the only spoiler here. The little asterisk here isn't just for show. It's actually to denote that the secret title of the film is The New Avengers. And honestly, I'm surprised to say, I think that's kind of cute. In a way, it's very meta that Marvel has to hide the true nature of this film, because if this movie launched with that title, people would immediately be against it. People were already against the concept of this movie from the start. Oh, it's just a movie about all the boring characters from the MCU. Why the fuck would I watch that? They'd see this cast of seemingly insignificant characters and they would just write it off. And that's kinda how it is in this story, too. As an audience, we need an entire narrative to endear us to these characters, and I think it actually works. When the title gets revealed, I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. But if the movie was any worse, it would have felt very out of place, but it really feels like these characters kind of earned it. And I like that. It made me smile. This is the first movie in recent years that kind of makes you want to see more from the MCU, and it sets things up in a way that is very simple, but effective. The post-credit scene gave me feelings that I really haven't felt in a long time. You see, back in the day, post-credit scenes for the MCU would legitimately get you hyped up for the next movie. But think about the most recent MCU post-credit scenes. There's the Doctor Strange one that feels extremely out of place. It's like it's from a different fucking movie. And honestly, it ruins the ending of that story. Thor: Love and Thunder teases a film that absolutely isn't going to exist. And then we have Quantumania. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see these guys ever again. It's really just hard to care about anything that these movies try to set up. But Thunderbolts goes back to basics. It doesn't tease a movie that hasn't been announced yet. It just teases the Fantastic Four, the movie we get to watch in a few months, the one that we saw a trailer for right before this movie started. That's how it should be done. The best MCU post-credit scenes are the ones that just lead directly into the next entry that we are going to be watching. This is the connective tissue that the MCU has been lacking for the last few years. The thing is, I don't think this movie is very outstanding. It didn't blow my mind, it didn't change the way I think. It has some pretty good shots, but a lot of it still looks and sounds and feels like a normal superhero movie. But none of that stuff bothers me because the movie's just fun. It's a good time at the theater. It exists to remind us why we like these movies. I've been saying for years that superhero fatigue isn't really a thing. The only superhero movie to release in 2024 was also the top-grossing live-action film of that year. People do not have superhero fatigue. They have dog-shit movie fatigue. And it seems like Marvel Studios might finally understand that less is more. We don't want 10 mediocre projects a year. Give us a couple good ones that tie together in an entertaining way, and we'll be happy. So I'm going to go ahead and give The Thunderbolts an 8 out of 10.